along across the globe from USA to Scotland. Today, he joins us as a bridge between cultures and a curator of Indian poetic spirit. अंशुमान जी, आपका लिखा ना लहर ना लपट, मन की बगिया की हल्की आहट, भारत की सौंधी मिट्टी की थाप, दिल तक पहुंचता है सुर बनकर. बंगाल की मिट्टी से उठकर साहित्य में छाया अंशुमान कर, विश्व के फलक पे जल उठा भारत का दीपक बनकर.
We are honored to welcome Dr. Ruby Gupta, an award-winning author of 10 books and celebrated nation builder who serves as a professor at the Indian Military Academy, a former international writer in residence at the Agatha Christie Festival. She is a master of suspense whose gripping thrillers are now transitioning from the page to screen. Today, this double gold medalist joins us to decode the intricate mysteries of creativity and enduring power of written words. मैम, आपके विषय में बोलना चाहूँगी कि अक्षरों की भूमि पर जिसने शब्दों के दीपक जलाए हैं, अपनी कलम से जिसने विश्व में गीत सजाए हैं, प्रेम से अपराध तक, माया से संवाद तक, भाषा ने अर्थ पाए हैं. रूबी गुप्ता नाम नहीं, साहित्य, शिक्षा और साहस तीनों ने नया मुकाम पाए हैं.
We are privileged to welcome Mr. Sunil Mansingh, a multifaceted media veteran and creative mentor whose 3-decade career has spanned the stage, airwaves, and the written word. Through his poignant anthology, Love and Loss Intertwined, he masterfully explores the delicate spaces where memory meets healing, treating grief and attachment as inseparable companions of the human journey. Today, he joins us to share how the simple, evocative power of poetry can transform our deepest vulnerabilities into a shared language of solace and resilience. कोई कितने रूपों में हो सकता है, कोई कितने सपने जी सकता है, हर दिशा में बिखर कर भी कोई पहचान कैसे रख सकता है. शिक्षक, पत्रकार, रेडियो जॉकी, स्क्रिप्ट राइटर, नाटककार, वॉइस ओवर कलाकार और अभिनेता सब हैं सुनील मानसिंह जी. आओ सीखें, आओ जाने, एक अनुभव, एक यात्रा दुनिया को रोशन कैसे कर सकता है.
It is a distinct honor to welcome Dr. Kalpana Purohit, a versatile poet, critic, and dean at Jai Narayan Vyas University, a recipient of Shastri Award and the Fulbright Scholarship, and her name is recognized by Sahitya Academy as the vibrant voice of 21st century Indian poetry. She has dedicated 35 years to literature, authoring 14 books and 70 papers, and extensively traveled scholar and a beacon of creative insight. Her work continues to champion human values and message of peace. कुछ शब्द मैम आपके लिए. कल्पना जी ने जो लिखा, मनुष्य को सहेजने के लिए लिखा, साहित्य के मरहम से लिखा, उपाधि के लिए नहीं, पुरस्कार के लिए नहीं, श्रमिकों की भाषा में लिखा, स्त्रियों की आवाज़ में लिखा. डॉक्टर कल्पना एक नाम है, साहित्य सर्जना की आवाज़ है.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Okay. Thank you, dears, for such a wonderful introduction of all of us. At the outset, मैं जैसे मैंने कल भी कहा कि इस देवभूमि की पावन धरती पर आप सभी का मैं आज एज अ मॉडरेटर स्वागत और अभिनंदन करती हूँ. यहाँ जितने भी सम्मानित विद्वान जन जो हमारे छात्र हैं, शिक्षक साथी हैं, आज मुझे लगता है कि आज पुनः हम लोग 4 वर्ष बाद एकत्रित हुए हैं, जहाँ पे उल्लास और उमंग और से परिपूर्ण ये जो हमारा माहौल है और आत्मीयता से महकता हमारा जो संस्कृत साहित्य, प्रेम, स्नेह और भाषा का अद्भुत हमारा जो समागम है, उसके लिए मैं आप सभी को साधुवाद देती हूँ. और साहित्य एक महत्वपूर्ण धारा है जिसमें मुझे लगता है कि पुरातन संस्कृति के दिव्य रूप का दर्शन होता है. So, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to each one of you, and let me transport you to the world of poetry, rhythms of life, as the title says here. We, of course, are here to celebrate the literary journey of three prolific writers here, or I should say poets and writers, both they are here, and whose voice has woven a rich tapestry of language, emotion, and insights across literary landscapes. And they have rare talent. You have heard the kind of bio note our women were reading about it. So they are rare talents for weaving the words into magic, and that touch the soul and awakens the deep, emotions in all of us. In fact, if I may say that they leave an indelible mark, with their presence here. So all three of them are blessed with a powerful, meaningful, and reflective pen, I must say. So their literary contribution fetched them accolades, you heard about them, and of course recognition. So this speaks in volumes about the kind of guests we have on the stage for the session, and it gives me an immense pleasure to extend a very, very warm welcome to all three of you. And I believe Dr. Ruby and Mr. Mansingh and of course Anshuman, words possess the power to inspire the change I feel. And I'd like to say that poetry is not confined to the rhyme or meter only. It's a way of seeing things, of noticing the world around, that overlooks. So without much ado, I think I'll begin with I'm going to speak to Dr. Anshuman in English because he is not very well versed in Hindi. So I hope you people can, he'll will be a little simpler in understanding what he's trying to. You understood what he has spoken about. And Anshuman Kar, of course, comes from a small village of West Bengal. So significantly, why I'm repeating it, the same soil, most of you must have heard, that gave us the legendary painter Jamini Roy. He comes from that place. Okay? So that's in addition to the bio note you read. Perhaps, it's the kind of artistic lineage of a place, of this Jamini Roy that you find that it informs Kar's poetry. I don't know how much he is influenced by Jamini Roy as a painter, but definitely his works are rooted in the soil, in the local, yet expensive in vision. And beginning his literary journey as a, I think, short story writer, and he later emerged as a significant voice in contemporary Bengali poetry. Okay, so I am so blessed to have him. He keeps calling me Didi, so it's wonderful to have a brother like him. And he's currently, of course, a professor in Bardhaman University. But what is important is Anshuman Kar brings to this session, what we are having today, a voice shaped by both rootedness and also a global engagement. So I welcome Anshuman to you. And of course, Sunil Mansingh. He told me not to call him Sunil ji. So he is multifaceted, as you people have known. But I knew as soon as he spoke to me on telephone, I said, it's a radio voice. And that speaks a lot about somebody from far talks to you on phone. And as he told me that he wrote Times of India, so I look forward to, and of course I wish him the best because he's going to publish very soon a poetry collection in Hindi. And my conversation with him will be in bilingual. He's a passionate, kind of a writer. And he inspires, I believe, the young voices to find their own language of expression. So we are pleased to have him in this session also. And yes, Ruby Gupta. Now, Ruby Gupta, of course, I don't have to repeat the bio note. All of you have come to know. What impressed me was that, let me repeat, that she was honored as International Writer in Residence at the International Agatha Christie Festival. That has inspired me with lot of questions, not as a poet. She writes, can you believe it, a crime kind of stories? And I was wondering, a poet who needs to have a sensitive heart, and here we have, she writes crime stories. So, welcome, Ruby. We'll keep talking about the kind of, imagination and what creative flight you take over. To our poets, and of course, thank you for lending your voice, the audience here. May you listen not just with your ears, but I'm sure with lot of attention it requires at this hour, and empathy and openness to the speakers here. Now let's now enter to the world, to the magic of words, where poetry breathes, questions, and heals. My first question is to Anshuman Kar. Your poems I was going through and often turn ordinary moments into something very, very meaningful. As I said, rootedness. How do you notice the smallest, how do you observe the smallest details that churns out to be into a poetry?
Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you, and thank you, Kalpana Didi. She has rightly pointed out that I call her Didi. True. And thank you for observing this, that to me, otherwise insignificant things are very, very important, and I'm interested in those details. और हाँ, मेरी हिंदी बहुत ख़राब है, इसलिए I won't try to speak in Hindi. I'll try to speak in English. Right. Look, I always believe that what actually a poet is a seer, basically. And I can't tell you that how it happens, but it has happened so many times that very ordinary and simple things which usually everybody overlooks or does not pay attention to. Somehow the moment I see all those things, something comes to my mind in a flash. How does it happen? I can't tell you really, because I'm sure that Rubiji and Sunil Mansingh also, and all of you who are poets here, will agree with me that it's a kind of a mystery. We are, meaning, yes, I also write a little bit of, fiction and both short and long stories. So there you can plan things out, you can, meaning operate following a kind of a system, but that does not work in case of poetry, meaning all of a sudden it comes, at least for me. I don't know, as I've told you that probably all of you will agree with me, but this is how I keep on writing. Sometimes it has also happened that I'm a very sensitive kind of person to whatever is happening around me. It has also been the case with me that not only things, but something happens, all of a sudden something takes place. Might be that that's a social event, that's a political thing, and I get triggered to write a poem. In fact, I can talk about, I write in Bengali, all my poems are written in Bengali, and then I translate. Usually, some of my poems have been translated by some of my friends and one of my teachers as well into English. But usually, I translate my poems into English. So I can just read one poem, which is the first poem of my poetry collection in English, which is titled "Wound is the Shelter." And I can give you also the context of the poem, that how the poem came to me. You were talking about Jamini Rai. Yes, I am from that village where the great painter Jamini Rai was born. And you were asking me that how, whether he has at all influenced me. Let me tell you that one of the books of mine, which is a collection of poems, is titled Jamini Rayat Desh in Bangla, which means that the land of Jamini Rai. But it's not a prose collection, it's a collection of poems. He has influenced me a lot, definitely. And I was in my village during the Puja vacation, which is the only vacation that the university teachers now we get in Bengal. And I was having my morning walk. And close to a huge field where we used to play when we were kids. There stands an incomplete house, right? And it has been standing there for so many years. Uh, I have, or rather had seen that house so many times, but on that particular day, when I was having my morning walk, I was out for it. All of a sudden, when I watched the house once again, a line came to me in a flash. And I stopped my morning walk, came back home, and immediately wrote this poem. Let me just read out this poem, then you'll be able to understand that how things actually happened to me. And that is the house which I have told you that I had watched so many times in the past. But on that day, when I saw that house, something happened actually. Now, why this happened? How does this happen to me? That really I'm unable to explain. But it keeps on happening, and as long as it keeps on happening, I keep on writing. Sometimes I'm also afraid that one day might be that those things stop coming to me. You know, those flashes stop coming to me, and who knows, I might not be able to write even a single poem after that. So that is also a kind of a fear which I always do have in me. In this poem, I have used actually two proper names, one of which is Shumon. I know that in northern India, Shumon is the name of a girl, but in Bengal, Shumon is usually the name of a boy, right? So this is what the poem is. It's titled Abandon. It's about that house, that incomplete house. Some houses stop growing at lintel. No roof, no windows, no doors. At the end of a village, in the corner of a field, such a house, dusty, stands alone. Its bricks gather black moss. Who owns it? Who stopped its construction midway? One can only know after a thorough investigation. The house, however, does not remember the owner. Some young boys dig up its floor, light fire, and have a feast. Using brick, someone writes on the black moss, Shumon plus Mullika. And on another day, someone crushes the petals of another Mullika in it. The anger of the entire village blooms on its walls as slang. The house, which is complete, has windows and doors, cannot have any feast. No one crushes any Mullika in it. No one writes slang on its walls. For all this, you need a house which stops growing at lintel, a house that wants feast, wants slang to be written on its walls like inscriptions of the Stone Age, wants Mullika to come gingerly and wait for Sumon. At the end of a village, in the corner of a field, that's why my poem stops growing at lintel. So this is the poem, as I've told you that after watching that, incomplete house, it came to me.
Okay, that means it was kind of a distillation of lived experiences and observations you feel. Because see, every poet I feel has his own way of inspiration and writing and observation. जैसे हमारे बीच में अभी मान सिंह जी हैं, right? I'm sorry, सुनील हैं. Or, I'm still getting used to not putting G over there as he requested me. आपने थिएटर किया, आपने रेडियो आप करते हैं, I mean multifaceted areas you have. And you have written a poetry of love and pain, right? So what inspires you and what do you think which is the strongest emotion here? और ये आप journalism, radio, theater से jump होके now you are a poet. I mean, can you talk something about your journey as a poet and also about the poetry I went through? The anthology, it has the powerful emotions of love and pain there. So can you share sir something? आप हिंदी में बोलेंगे तो मुझे अच्छा लगेगा because नहीं हम आपसे मेरी बात हुई थी कि हम थोड़ा bilingual रख लें because we have the other speakers will be speaking in English, तो हम थोड़ा सा उसको हिंदी में भी आप दोनों बोल सकते हैं.
सबसे पहले इट्स अ बिग ऑनर टू बी हियर और श्रवण सर, हांडा साहब, अंतप्रवाह सोसाइटी के जितने सदस्य हैं सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने मुझे मंच दिया. डॉक्टर रूबी, अंशुमन सर, कल्पना मैम, मेरा ये मानना है कि हम सभी के अंदर असंख्य किरदार होते हैं, और बच्चे जिस नज़रिए से दुनिया को देखते हैं वो सिर्फ इस समय का नज़रिया होता है. चिल्ड्रन ओनली लिव इन द प्रेजेंट. एज अडल्ट्स हम या तो फ्यूचर में जीते हैं या पास्ट में जीते हैं, प्रेजेंट में जीना भूल जाते हैं. रही बात लिखने की, तो इसका श्रेय हमारी मदर और फादर दोनों को जाता है. मदर हमारी इलाहाबाद विश्वविद्यालय से उन्होंने अपना मास्टर्स इन हिंदी करा था सन 52 में, और फादर हमारे, उनको अंग्रेज़ी आती थी, हिंदी आती थी, उर्दू बड़ी अच्छी आती थी. दे वर प्री इंडिपेंडेंस बोथ ऑफ देम. और पिताजी हमारे हिंदी नहीं लिख पाते थे, और पढ़ते भी थे तो डगमगा के पढ़ते थे. हम लोग को सेंट जोसेफ्स इलाहाबाद में डाला गया था, विच इज़ अ कॉन्वेंट स्कूल. तीसरे बटन पे ये देख कर गुड मॉर्निंग मिस विद अ वेरी क्लिप्ड ब्रिटिश एक्सेंट्स हम लोग को बोलना होता था. और माँ यही कहती थी कि अंग्रेज़ी स्कूल में पढ़ा रही हूँ, अंग्रेज़ी दाँ बन गए तो चमड़ी उधेड़ दूंगी. हमने स्कूल में लिखना शुरू कर दिया था, और छोटी छोटी बातें जो हमारी मदर भी कहती थी, फादर भी कहते थे, बड़ी चीज़ें मत देखो, छोटी चीज़ें देखो, बारीक चीज़ें देखो. इट्स द स्मॉल मोमेंट्स ऑफ लाइफ दैट मेक लाइफ. द बिग पिक्चर कम्स मच लेटर. और हमने स्कूल में भी लिखा, और मुझे याद है एक बार स्कूल में पोइट्री राइटिंग कंपटीशन हुआ था, हमने लिखा था. तो मुख्य अतिथि एक मंत्री साहब थे जिनको बुलाया गया था, और मैंने लिखा था, मुझे बुलाया गया पढ़ने के लिए. मैंने कहा कि ठीक है, और मैं शुरू हो गया कि आज के नेता का देखो कमाल, कर रखा है उसने अपने को माला माल. और एक क्षण में हमारे जो प्रिंसिपल साहब थे वो उठ करके आए, कहते हैं बच्चा है और ऐसे नादानी की बातें कर रहा है, ऐसा होता नहीं, सारे नेता ऐसे नहीं होते हैं. तो मुझे एक चीज़ लगी, मुझे लगा कि व्हाई एम आई बीइंग स्टॉप्ड फ्रॉम सेइंग व्हाट आई वांट टू से. आप मेरे मत से तारुफ नहीं रखते हैं, कोई बात नहीं, बट डोंट स्टॉप मी फ्रॉम स्पीकिंग व्हाट आई हैव टू. इट इज़ माई ट्रूथ. मे बी इन टाइम आई विल रियलाइज कि कुछ बहुत अच्छे नेता भी होते हैं. फिर चलते चलते न्यूज़पेपर के लिए लिखा, फोटोग्राफी भी करी. सो द जर्नी वॉज ऑलवेज इवॉल्विंग. इट्स अ कॉन्स्टेंटली इवॉल्विंग जर्नी. इट वॉज नेवर दैट आई बिकेम अ पोएट ओवरनाइट, नो. और हम लोग सब स्क्रिबल करते हैं. आई एम श्योर ऑडियंस में जितने लोग बैठे हैं सब ने कभी ना कभी 4 लाइनें लिख करके रखी हुई हैं. और इस डर से कि एक जजमेंट पास होगा हमारे ऊपर, उसको कभी पब्लिक नहीं करा. जजमेंट तो पास हो ही रहा है, आप लिखें न लिखें, बोले न बोलें, आप क्या पहने हैं क्या नहीं पहने, the judgment will always be passed. Why should that stop you from saying what you have to? वो जैसे फैज़ ने भी कहा कि बोल के लब आज़ाद हैं तेरे, कि बोल कि जहाँ अब तक की ज़ुबान अब तक तेरी है. This particular collection of poems that I wrote after it started when my father-in-law passed away. मेरे father-in-law यहीं हरिद्वार के थे, और he was a very well-known pediatrician over here, Dr. घनश्याम सारस्वत. और बड़ा ironic था that he treated me like his son. और the day he passed away, we got him home, made the arrangements for laying him in state. और मैंने ही जाके घर का कमरा साफ कराया था और we got the refrigerated coffin to keep him there for the night. And ironically, next morning, जब लोग आए तो मुझे कहा गया कि आप इनके पास भी मत जाइएगा, आप दामाद हैं, इनको मुक्ति नहीं मिलेगी. So these are the ironies of life. These are the ironies of life. For him, I was a son. For the world, I was the son-in-law. And in that one night, I became a pariah who couldn't touch him, who couldn't go near him. So, I think there is a lot of love in all of us. And it is intertwined with a lot of pain also. There cannot be love without pain. आप श्री फरहाद ले लीजिए या कुछ भी ले लीजिए, अथाह प्रेम में लोग आबाद भी हुए हैं, बर्बाद भी हुए हैं. पर वो प्रेम तभी होता है जब करुणा हो और पीड़ा हो. So that is why this writing came about. And I think रोज़मर्रा की बातें जो हैं वो ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट हैं. बड़े ख्याली पुलाव तो हम सब बना ही लेते हैं. So that has been my journey thus far.
I fully agree with you, Sunil ji, because I also believe life is not about living, but finding yourself and creating yourself. We all have our memories, we all have experiences and all emotions, lived emotions that kind of transforms into the flowing of our ink. But I still feel that some people may, like Anshuman said about the emotions attached with the family, with the rootedness. You have your own pain and emotions. I get, all my creative flight comes from my association and you could say, I get very, very inspired by nature. And I would like to take a solitary walk, and of course, I don't feel alone or lonely. And I want to be one with the divine kind of starry skies and nature. It gives you solace and peace at heart. So, everyone, and I'm not here to read my poetry, but my poem, you could say poems or whatever poetry I've written, most of it, it's not about love, loss, and true, I agree, we have emotions, but I would like to be one with the divine celestial objects, and that gives me a lot of peace and, this thing. We have Dr. Ruby, and let me tell you, Ruby, you have a wonderful smile here. I was going through your profile, and she wrote one, I think, poetry which she had shared with me that it was appreciated by Kamla Das herself. And was it about feminism? I was wondering because Kamla Das, liked her poem. But at the same time, I was quite wondering that she shifted from there to another novel. Was it fiction or non-fiction? Fiction. And that is titled Maya, which has spirituality in it. And then from there, she travels to crime stories. People normally, from crime stories go to spirituality. But here you have somebody from poetry, then spirituality, and then she comes on a crime scene. So in a world of kind of grappling with the complexities of human experience, or kind of, I should say, engulfed by the chaos, violence and unrest or conflicts, do you think the answer to this is to promote the spiritual writings like Maya? And she's working in IMA, ladies and gentlemen. So I was just asking the place where you have a lot of discipline and, and suddenly she talks of spirituality. So what do you have to say? Could you just share about your views on that?
So firstly, thank you so much, Haridwar Literature Festival, for inviting me, Professor Shravan, Handaji, and the MCs who introduced me so nicely, and most of all, Professor Kalpana, who gave a very nice introduction and of course prompted me to smile by appreciating my smile. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So I will quote, sort of paraphrase the great American poet Walt Whitman, who said that there is no dichotomy in having different aspects or different things within yourself. And I, like him, contain multitudes. I refuse to be slotted only in one genre, that I am a poet, or I am a fiction writer, or I am a crime fiction writer, or an espionage writer, or a spiritual writer, or an academic writer, or a non-fiction writer. So I straddle all these genres. So yes, I did write one poem of mine, and I sent it to Femina, and the poetry editor of Femina was Kamla Das. And she selected my poem, and it was published. And I would like to read it out to you, which will give you an idea from where I started, and now I am on to espionage thrillers. From murder mysteries, I've gone one step ahead and written an espionage thriller. So this is a screenshot taken from that Femina, actually. And this is titled Thoughts of You. I resolve 2,000 times not to think of you. I summon all the reserves of my willpower to do so. Somehow I succeed and go into the intricate world of genetic engineering. When suddenly, unbidden from nowhere, you invade my mind again. And before I know what's happening, I'm lost in a dream world with you. When the room turns dark, I realize how the hours have flown by. My chapter on biotechnology being still unfinished. And once again, I resolve 1,000 times not to think of you. So this was not a feminist poem at all. It was a love poem. And like Wordsworth has said, and we know, that this was the surfeit of emotions recollected in tranquility. And so this was one of my poems. I've written several poems. But spirituality was a major interest of mine. Since I was a class 12 student, 9, 10 student, I always wondered, what is the purpose of human life? Is there a higher purpose, or are we meant to do the same thing every day? We get up, we study, we eat, we sleep, then later on we work and we go to sleep, and every day is a cut, copy, paste of the previous day. Or is there a higher purpose? Does our mind have the ability to transcend the material plane and go to a higher plane? And thus began my search. And I read Vivekananda, I read Gyan Yoga, Raj Yoga, and then I practiced, I took Diksha. I went up to Mount Abu, to the Brahma Kumari Center, took Diksha, and followed many of these spiritual practices. And for those of you who are interested, I will tell you the spiritual practice which actually worked for me, it may work for you, which is the practice of Kriya Yoga. So I practiced Kriya Yoga for several years. It is propagated by Yogananda ji, who got it from Lahari Mahasya. And this is the practice. Kriya means doing something, doing an activity which helps you to transcend the material world, and your mind can extend and access higher, I would say, higher regions of the universe, and the mind can extend further to several kilometers. So that was my spiritual journey, and I realized in the course of my spiritual journey that the purpose of life is to be the best version of what you can be and do what you love. That is how we are all born, to be the best version of ourselves and to do what we love. Because if you are not doing what you love, then what are you doing? If you see all the creatures on this world, they are being the best that they can be. And then I came to a kind of understanding and introspecting that what do I love? And I realized that what I love are stories, and particularly mystery stories and murder mysteries, yes, but I love the puzzle kind of stories, the kind of closed room mysteries, the cozy mysteries where the murder per se is not the main thing. The main thing is the puzzle, the solving of the puzzle, that how the murder takes place. What is the complexity involved in the murder? Who is the murderer? What is the plot? What is the motive for the murder? So I love pitting my brains against the writer of the murder mystery. And so I thought, can I do the same thing? And then I did. And so I went on to write murder mysteries. And I created a detective, just like Hercule Poirot and Sherlock Holmes. My detective is Professor Shantanu Bose. He's like my alter ego because he's a professor. And he's a world-renowned nano expert. Because I was a science student, I did BSc, MSc, and then came to literature. So he's a nano expert, and he solves these various mysteries. So 3 of my novels have got him as the main detective. And then I thought, okay, I've done this closed room murder mysteries, now to straddle the globe. And then I wrote my espionage thriller, which interestingly I would like to tell you is based on the real life murders slash mysterious deaths of around 8 to 10 Indian nuclear scientists and defense personnel who have been found dead under mysterious circumstances. This is real, let me tell you, 100% real. And the police has closed each case as no clues found. And I feel my novel is a cautionary tale about the disastrous consequences of marginalizing some of the sections of our society. And India is not under, I would say, overt threat only at the borders. India is under covert threat. Our technological development, DRDO, ISRO, defense capabilities, they are all under covert threat. So this novel was an attempt to bring out these aspects on which, and I did a lot of research, and this is my novel which is being adapted to screen. So this is a full-on espionage thriller. RAW is there, IB is there, People's Liberation Army of China is there. I had gone to China, and CIA is there. So this is my magnum opus, so to speak. So I straddled the trajectory from poetry to espionage, and now my 10th book has come out. Just recently it's been launched, which is called Love and Crime. It is a collection of short stories. So there you go.
Congratulations, Ruby. And we do have a Agatha Christie amidst us today, I believe. And my next question goes to, of course, Anshuman. I request Anshuman and all of you to be very short because we'd like to, complete on time and finish the session. So it has 2 questions. What is the inspiration, behind in your poems? And second, I feel how has been like you've been working in Bengali and English both. So different languages and different cultures, how that influences your poetic vision. Do you feel challenges or is it okay to keep, kind of going from one to another? And who are the inspirations in your?
But let me answer the second question first, and in response to your first question, I will read out once again a poem. Probably that will answer your question. Yeah, I teach English literature. I write in English also, but those things are actually post edits and essays and books also. I have written quite a number of books also in English, but those are basically academic or socio-political stuff. So I have never written poetry in English. So whenever, as I've told you, that anything comes to me in the form of a poem, that automatically takes the shape in Bengali, my mother tongue, right? So that's it. And I think that I'm blessed because because I teach English, I have read English also as a student. I've been able to read, meaning world literature, global literature, and so many other vernacular literatures of India as well, because they have been translated, those things have been translated into English. And regarding inspiration, let me just tell you that so many times, as you have asked me earlier also, that insignificant things or objects, my family members also, they keep on inspiring me, and from those things, from my family members also, I have got lines of poems, meaning by observing them, what they are doing, what they are thinking. So, and this is where, as Sunil was actually rightly pointing out, that where love and pain, they are intertwined, bereavement and bliss are intertwined, because you cannot compartmentalize life at all, right? Life is always a mixed bag. So this is a poem that I will read in response to your question, that what inspires me. I hope that the poem itself will tell you that what inspires me to write poetry. The poem is titled Television. It's actually about a television set that we had in our house. And in this poem, I have also used a few proper names, out of which Shashwati and Choitali, they were 2 very well-known television anchors in the early days of Bengali Doordarshan. And we used to consider them 2 sisters, which they were not. They are still alive. Even now, they anchor some of the programs or rather on other occasions, but no more in Doordarshan. They have, both of them have retired. The poem is titled Television. a few years, and against these years, a few things I have jotted down. Of course, related primarily to my family. 1986. To see Maradona, we purchased for the first time a Konark, black and white, large television for our home. The first day the TV came, 15 to 20 neighbors were invited, milk payash was served along with luchi, all huddling together in a semicircle goggled at Pulli Kotha. They all got to know the Shashwati Choitali duo. Pramanik auntie explained, they are two sisters. For quite a long time, all in the neighborhood believed that duo to be two sisters. 1995, Papa and Mama and we two brothers were in Purulia. Every one of our friends had a color TV. So for our home also was purchased a color TV, though a portable one. Our home was filled up with color. Our frequenting the cinema halls lessened. And shortly, the Shashwati Choitali duo dropped off our memory and we grew familiar with Annu Kapoor and Renuka Sahane. The first time I saw Baywatch, my eyes were glazed blind. But I don't remember the name of the TV company since that set was sold in a short time. 1996, BPL, large, color. When purchased for our home, for the first time I began thinking we are also getting rich men like. Saurabh's Century I saw, Anaida's album, films on star movies. Mom became an addict, a movie worm of various serials, but dad only of cricket and old films on Z Cinema of 60s, 70s, the Hindi films with Dhrushum. 2000, dad passed away. 2003, even today, that self-same BPL set of 1996, 49 channels. My brother says, this model has gone out of fashion now. Do you know how many channels we are deprived of seeing? For the last 7 days, brother, Tinni and Shoma are away. Only me, mom, and our maid Asha are at home. Returning home at midday, I find mom is busy with a needlework, but the TV is on. When you are not watching it, can't you switch it off? Actually, in the empty house, none of you are at home. That is my soul friend. When it's on, I feel someone is near about talking to me. At least I am not alone.
How wonderful. How wonderful. I think this is a story of most of us. And it becomes like a personal emotion gets transformed into universal and global. Yes, poetry is an artistic expression, I feel, of emotions and of your life. That shows the out and inner truth together and is a means of bringing, I guess, peace, and you feel so happy. Poetry, I remember Wordsworth once said that poetry is the breath and what was that? Final spirit of all human knowledge. So that brings me to another question to Sunil. Now, Sunil, I have two questions in one question and kindly make it a little, one thing, does a poem like come to you first as an idea, emotion or a sound? And another thing, जैसा हमें पता चला है कि आप अभी इन दिनों हिंदी का भी एंथोलॉजी निकालने वाले हैं. Could you be kind enough to discuss with us in Hindi about the first question is idea, emotion or sound? What comes to you first in inspiration? And secondly, just little bit about your upcoming anthology in Hindi.
Thank you, ma'am. I never consciously construct poems. ऐसा नहीं होता कि बैठ करके इस चीज़ के बारे में लिखना है. ये ट्रिगर कभी भी कहीं भी आ सकता है. और इंटरेस्टिंगली मैंने कभी सेकंड ड्राफ्ट नहीं करा. जो आया मैंने वैसे ही लिख दिया. मुझे लगता है कि बच्चे जब पैदा होते हैं हमें उन्हें पैदा हो जाने देना चाहिए. ज़्यादा उनको ट्रिमिंग और नहीं करनी चाहिए. लेट देम बी व्हाट दे आर. सो कहीं से भी इंस्पिरेशन आ सकता है. जैसे मैं आई विल रीड वन फ्रॉम माय previously published anthology, और जो ये एंथोलॉजी है, दिस इज अबाउट पार्टिंग अवे, मतलब, और ऐसा नहीं दैट देयर इज एनी हाउस ऑन दिस अर्थ दैट इज अनटच्ड बाय डेथ। सबके घर आती है और एक व्यक्ति से बहुत कुछ ज्यादा लेकर के जाती है। एंड दिस इज द वन सर्टेनिटी इन लाइफ एंड वी डोंट टॉक अबाउट इट। सो आई रोट दिस रात में कभी कभी उठ करके देख रहे हैं और एकदम से ख्याल आया और मैंने अपने फ़ोन पे लिख के उसको छोड़ दिया। और जैसे हम मदर के क्रिमेशन के बाद लौटे थे, सो आई रोट दिस, आई सैट नियर द बर्निंग फायर एंड स्पेंट सम टाइम विद अम्मा फॉर वन लास्ट टाइम। द फायर फ्रॉम द फायर was strangely comforting and warm. Mothers have a unique way of showing their love. एंड आप कह रहे थे हिंदी के एंथोलॉजी की बात कर रहे थे, तो इसका श्रेय पूर्णतः माँ को ही जाता है। सो दिस इज मिक्स्ड एक्चुअली, बहुत सारे चीज़ों के ऊपर लिखा है, बट वन आई विल रीड फ्रॉम देयर। और क्योंकि माँ की बात कर रहे थे, श्रेय उन्हीं को जाता है, तो मैं एक लिखता हूँ, पढ़ता हूँ। मौत दहलीज पर आ खड़ी हुई, मौत दहलीज पर आ खड़ी हुई और माँ को अपने मौन में ले चली। यादें मौत को मात देती हैं, माँ तो अब भी हम सबके भीतर जिंदा है।
You know, I have goose pimples with these such brief lines, such profundity, and it touches the core of your heart. I really am impressed with just 3 or 4 lines. He can convey such depth. I think most of us are writing for maybe personal satisfaction, personal maybe expression, and it turns out to be the pain for others also. So it comes from personal to universal. Like as I told you, nature, you know, the streams and flowing streams, or the breeze and the sky and moon, everything, you know, touches me. And I'm not going to read the entire poem because that's not my day and an hour. But I had written recently Feeling Tonight, just the first few lines, and I'm not going to read the entire poem. So it's on me, it says. It's on me thou must shine. Give me thy beauty. That will transcend mine. I'll not be a statue. I'll move, I'll breathe. Unlike those others of nature, unmoving and unthinking, these shapes of stillness, a beauty exudes. But thy rays of brightness, shining of mine bare arms, will lend them a living loveliness. Thy radiant fingers leave through mine hair, and it goes on to make it, you know, you as a beautiful this thing. Now, I guess as we come to the end, because I'm told that just 5 minutes or 10 minutes are there, I wish we could keep on going, because a wonderful experience I had personally to know about your journey. And as we come to the close of this session, we are reminded that poetry does not, you know, seek final answers. It opens spaces. It opens questions. And spaces where silence speaks, where memory breathes, and where difficult truths can be held with care. So today we had, friends, 3 distinct voices. We witnessed how poetry can emerge from place, philosophy, from performance to lived experience to emotions, personal emotions, and from discipline and imagination, like we had of Ruby. And I think each of them here showed us that it's not escape from the world. It's not escape from the world, but a deeper kind of engagement with it. And its beauty, its fractures, its unanswered questions. So in a time marked by speed, voice, noise, forgetting, memory, poetry asks us to pause in silence and listen. Listen to nature, to one another, and to ourselves. It reminds us that words will have still the power to heal, their magic, you know, to resist and to reimagine. As we spoke yesterday, it's not a luxury, remember, it's a necessity. It's a necessity for justice, it's a necessity for empathy, and also for the human condition. Right? So we come to the end of such a stimulating, I think. We could just give you a peek into a little bit about what kind of journey all of them have taken. And we had, of course, I believe you will agree, it's a stimulating, enriching session. And I wish all three of you, to keep adding pinnacle of achievements, and hope you keep on realizing your dreams into reality. And my warmest to three of you. Here to the audience, you've been amazing here, because I know it's not easy to keep sitting and for hours and listen to people. Y'all were magnificent in your contributing with patient listening and of course eager listening and helping this session to be a very fruitful. They say life is little pain, a little pleasure, a little, heaping of treasure. So I'm sure we all feel very enriched. Though then no more gazing upon the sun, things must come to an end where that had begun. On this note, I just ask all of you poets, as Sunil said, we all have a poet in ourselves. Don't feel shy. I went through this shyness for years and years. I didn't share my, poetry with any of my friends. And then some angel walked in my, life, and he said, he's a professor and he writes poetry. He said, no, you must share your personal emotion with people, because that will save the humanity. And, on this note, I wish you people all the best. I look forward again for some more sessions next year. Hopefully we have the festival. And thank you, organizers, once again for providing me, and I think I can, from on behalf of all present here, thank you so much, the organizers, Karuna ji, Nidhi ji. You both really, again, I insist and, reiterate my emotions. You all deserve a great applause. The backbone behind this, I think, yes, a wonderful warm thanks to Professor Shravan Sharma, and also two of you were organized and the team and wonderful MOS here. Thank you so much. Have a great day and love you all. Thank you.
Now, let's open the floor for question. If any question that you would like to ask
From
our-
audience.
Oh, wonderful. If somebody has a query, observation, or you want to add something, you can, yes, you can address to the particular whosoever you want to. We have just 5 minutes, please. Don't make too long questions, and a very brief interaction is permitted here.
Mic.
It was amazing. We were swept away. We were swept away by each one of you, and it was really a very outstanding session. My question here is about, we often learn these things and we often discuss these things, the reason, the rationale, and the justification for poetry, why poetry must exist in spite of all the criticism it has to face. My question is directed more specifically to Mr. Shri Man Singh. Sunil Mansingh. And when he read out his poem, especially the 3-4 lines of his poem directed at the funeral of a mother, extremely touching and extremely sensitive topic. A poet, when he writes a poetry, he often has as an audience in his mind. An audience in his mind. An invisible audience. He is always having an audience, a reader, imagining whom he writes a poem. When you write a poem, and especially a poem which discusses the death of your mother, and do you have a desire or wish that she could read these lines in, like, which would never be? How does this sensitive topic? How can you get the courage to delve into such extreme topic, which will always remind you of the same painful incident over and over again?
To add to his question, is it a self-expression only of your emotion, or you would like to share your personal with the world around? such a sensitive, as he says rightly?
Two things. I don't have an audience in mind. I write for myself. The creative mind never works under compulsion. It works under freedom. मुझे जो कहना था मैंने कह दिया. I wrote that. Yes, the decision to put it out in the public domain was a conscious decision. And reason ये है कि सबके घर ये होता है, हम बात नहीं कह पाते. In my foreword, in my author speak, I have written, even if 4 lines from my anthology are able to help somebody find some meaning, some kind of closure, my work is done. ये ऊपर वाले की देन है कि मैं अपने ख्यालों को, अल्फाजों को मैं लिख लेता हूँ. ये सबके पास नहीं होता है. बट अगर ये है मेरे पास और मैंने लिख दिया है, so the moment you write something, it does not belong to you. You have committed to paper. If it is committed to paper, it is committed to posterity. It becomes a part of a larger audience. Share it. What is personal, what is impersonal, what is sensitive, what is insensitive are moot questions. Somebody might say, you are such an insensitive person writing about death. कि आपकी माँ चिता पे आप उनकी अंत्येष्टि करके आ रहे हैं, आप उसके बारे में लिख रहे हैं. Somebody might say, oh, that must have taken a piece of you. The fact is, half of me is my mother, half of me is my father. Every time I speak, every time I write, they read and they listen through me. We are in Haridwar. I was born in Prayagraj. So that was my Janmbhumi. Haridwar is my Karmbhumi. My connect with Ganga is atavistic. It is a primordial connect. And I tell everybody, please do not mourn death. Celebrate lives instead. इस गंगा में मैं अपने माता पिता की अस्थियों का विसर्जन करके आया हूं. हर वर्ष जब भी बारिश होती है तो वो लौट के आते हैं, मुझसे बात करते हैं. So every drop of rain reminds me of my parents and they are still with me. So they listen. ऐसा नहीं है they don't listen. They do.
Amazing.
This was a wonderful thing because I personally experienced this. I had lost my father. Until now, I talk to his, you could say photograph, anything which happens, good or bad in my life. He's always there with me. So I fully agree, celebrate the death of your loved one with cherished memories so you get a strength. The pain becomes not unbearable, but pain, you started loving that pain. It's been years and years. But I celebrate the cherished memories with my father. So on that note, I think that's the final kind of stake we can say. And I wish all of you the best. I hope nobody had a very important question for anybody else. All right, we call it a day.
One question then again.
Yes, please go ahead.
To Dr. Ruby Gupta.
Okay.
You wrote about the novel that you're writing up, which deals with espionage, spies and CIA and all those things. And so as someone who's trying to be a writer, transitioning from poetry to novel, as an aspirant for that, I ask you this question. When you write and when you traverse into this kind of fiction, writing about such things which, is there any necessity or how much is the necessity to have some exposure to those kind of territories like some portions of China you mentioned, China visit USA. I mean, can a writer write about life in America without ever being to America or without ever being to China? Is there any sort of real experience needed, or can it be all based on fiction? How much is your assessment on that?
Can work. I request you to be very, very short.
Okay, so that's a very broad question, but I'll try to condense it. First of all, whatever genre you want to write in, you must read a lot in that genre. So if you want to go for fiction or crime or espionage, read a lot, number one. Secondly, if you've been to those places, certainly your writing becomes more authentic. The more authentic your writing is the more you can connect with the readers, number one. But today we live in the era of the internet. You can research everything. For example, in this, I wrote about the Kalpakkam power plant, BARC, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, IISc Bangalore, and my finale was based at IISc Bangalore, where the US president had come and raw agents and Indian PM were to have a conference. I have not been to IISc Bangalore, but I researched it. I accessed the floor plans and everything from the internet. And there are archives from where you can access. So a strange kind of alchemy happens in your head when you're a creative person. Reality plus imagination plus research. So all these three get combined and gold is created. So that's how I write. And that's my advice to you.
Thank you.
I'm tempted to just add as, one thing to, because it's a very tricky question. Shravanji also has something to say. I will listen to him as well. Meaning, I am reminded of one thing that what Rubiji has said is absolutely right, because when you are thinking of a transition, then that genre you must read a lot. And the second thing also, she is absolutely right. Let me just give you one example of a very famous Bengali novel. It's one of the classics of Bengali literature, written by one of the masters of Bengali literature, Bibhuti Bhushan Bandyopadhyay. And the novel is titled Chander Pahar, right? The Hills of the Moon. And it has been filmed also. And it is about Africa. And Bibhuti Bhushan had never been to Africa. And remember that he was writing this novel in the 1940s. So at that time, internet was not there, so much of research, as Rubiji has rightly pointed out, that even now, without visiting a place, you can write about that, because information is there, visuals are there, videos are there, so it's possible. But at that time, merely by virtue of his imagination, he wrote about the African jungles, African forests, and till date, it is believed that this is the best exploration of Africa in Bengali fiction, written by someone who was a, typically Bengali writer, limited to Bihar, Jharkhand and Bengal only, and never been outside those places, and wrote extensively about Africa. And when he was asked that, how could you write this? He said that, I imagine all those things. And absolutely perfect was the imagination. Till date, it is believed that this is, as I've told you, the most authentic exploration of the forest of Africa in Bengali fiction. So that is also possible, because the author is so powerful that's why the author is also called sometimes almost God. The author can, with his or her imagination, can actually, do a miracle, right? So that is also possible. It has been possible.
I invite Professor Sharma wanted to speak something on, yeah. And that would be the last, please.
ये मेरा जो सवाल कम है, बल्कि सवाल है ही नहीं ये.
Maybe it's an observation. We would welcome that.
पर जो मैंने अभी सुना सुनील जी को, रूबी और कर साहब को जब कुछ सुना, तो एक जो मेरी बात अभी भी बात कर रहे थे कि कौन से ऑडियंस होते हैं जहन में जब आप लिखते हैं और कैसे लिखते हैं, और जो बहुत मुझे अपील की बात, जो मतलब जो मुझे खुद को भी बड़ी मेरे दिल के करीब है, एक चीज़ मैं भी मानता हूँ लाइफ में कि बहुत बड़ी बातें इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं होती लाइफ में. बड़ी छोटी छोटी चीज़ें जो आपने कही तो वाकई गूज़बम्प मुझे भी आने लगे कि अरे ये मेरी बात, आपने मेरे मन की बात कह दी. और ये राइटर के लिए होता है, क्योंकि राइटर जब लिखता है ना तो वो सब्जेक्टिव नहीं होता है, वो ऑब्जेक्टिव भी नहीं होता है और न्यूट्रल भी नहीं होता है. एक अलग स्टेट है, वो एक सुप्रा ह्यूमन स्टेट पर आप चले जाते हो. और जब आप वहाँ लिखते हो तो जो हमारे यहाँ बताए गए शास्त्रों में 4 प्रकार के ज्ञान हैं. एक होते हैं एग्जैक्ट नॉलेज, यथार्थ ज्ञान है, जो आप सम्यक ज्ञान है. दूसरा होता है संशय ज्ञान, डाउटफुल. तीसरा होता है मिथ्या, जो मिस्टेकन परसेप्शन. और चौथा है कंपैरेटिव, सादृश्य. कि इन 4 ज्ञान, बेसिकली लिटरेचर का मतलब ही ये है कि ज्ञान से परे हो जाना. अगर ज्ञान में रहेंगे तो आप नहीं कर सकते सर, फिर सृजन हो ही नहीं सकता आपका. तो जब आप माँ के लिए लिख रहे हैं तो वो आपकी माँ नहीं है, वो एक भाव है, उस भाव को आगे आप प्रेषित कर रहे हैं. तो ये मेरे ख्याल में जब इन चीज़ों को ले जाती है, जो अभी रूबी जी बात करें कि जो स्पिरिचुअलिटी है वो वही भाव है जिसको हम संप्रजात भाव कहते हैं. कॉन्शियस मेडिटेटिव स्टेट. कॉन्शियस मेडिटेटिव स्टेट में क्या होता है कि यू आर कॉन्शियस अबाउट द सोसाइटी वेयर you are away from your own self. So you're transcending the society, transcending yourself, the consciousness, then you are moving towards the realization of the absolute. But sometimes through society also you realize that absolute. And I think that is that emotion, that is भाव जिसको हम बात करते हैं, जब हमें छोटी छोटी बातें हमारे मन को छूने लगती हैं, वो जो कवि होता है, वो पोइट होता है, राइटर होता है, वो वाकई तो शायद हमारे यहाँ जो बात है सहृदय, वो सहृदय ही हमारे दिमाग में होता है. सहृदय ही राइटर होता है और सहृदय ही रीडर बन जाता है. तो एक वो बिल्कुल दूरी हमारी जब खत्म हो जाती है, पर्पस भी यही होता है, जो साहित्य का भी वही पर्पस है कि दूरी कम से कम हो जाए, कि जब अच्छी बात नहीं, गूज बम्ब आए तो कल्पना जी में भी आए, मुझ में भी आए, सबने देखे. वी ऑल अंडरगो द सेम एक्सप्रेशन, सेम इमोशन. तो जब सेम इमोशन में हो जाए, वही शायद आनंद की स्थिति होती है, वही उसका पर्पस होता है. शायद राइटर के मन में भी वही एक पराकाष्ठा होती है, जब उसे आनंद आ जाता है, क्योंकि वो अपनी जो एक पर्सनल भाव है वो यूनिवर्सल बन जाता है. मुझे लगता है ये सब चीज़ें मैं जो सुन रहा था आपको, तो मुझे लगता है हम राइटर्स की शायद वो वही एक
I think that can
destined
be
place.
called as a closing of the curtain with your statement. But you have anything to add, Ruby? No, no. I think that is the closing. Yeah, I think when we talk of Anand and Paramanand, I think that's an absolute closing of the curtain. So thank you so much for being amazing, amazing audience, and have a great day, all of you. God bless.
होपफुली आपको ये सेशन पसंद आया होगा. ये एक भावों का सेशन था. हम अपने सभी गेस्ट एंड मॉडरेटर का धन्यवाद करते हुए कहना चाहेंगे कि ज़िंदगी एक कविता है. ज़िंदगी एक कविता है जो पत्तों की सरसराहट में अपना स्वर खोजती है. टकराकर पत्थरों से नदी अपनी धुन में ये कहती है कि प्रेम में संगीत है.
आओ हम भी ठहर कर उसे सुने कि जीवन अपना सत्य कहता है. बहते रहो, महसूस करते रहो और निरंतर बनते रहो. थैंक यू. अटेंशन एवरीवन, 15 मिनट में एक प्ले स्टार्ट होने वाला है, तो उसके लिए प्लीज़ बी सीटेड हेयर ओनली एट 4:30. थैंक यू.